The first shovel bit into my roses. I was still in my slippers. My son did not look at me. My name is Howard Briggs. I am 71 years old. This is the story of how my own blood tried to erase me from my land, like my name was a smudge on paper. Sit back and let me tell you how my son tried to dig up my garden and bury me in silence, and how I took everything back with proof. Before we get too far, do not forget to subscribe and tell me where you are listening from. The morning started with engines, not birds, not the soft hum of the porch light. Engines. A flatbed blocked my gate. A small backhoe idled in my drive and puffed a gray breath into the cool air. Men in neon vests stepped over my hedge like it was a line of ants. Boots scuffed my path. Someone laughed. The laugh was sharp and young. I pushed open the front door. The knob felt cold. The key ring in my pocket dragged at my hip. I did not put on shoes. I did not grab a coat. I just walked out, the porch boards giving a little under my weight. Gravel ticked under the tires. A worker nodded at me and then looked past me like I was a mailbox. "Morning," I said. He checked a clipboard. "We are starting on the trenching, sir." "For what trench?" "Waterline, new slab, notes say garden to go." Garden to go. He said it fast, like a lunch order. My son, Martin, came around the corner from the side gate with a hard hat in his hand. He is 44, tall, clean shave. Shirt tucked so neat you could slice paper on the crease. He did not meet my eyes. He looked at the dirt like it owed him money. "Dad," he said, "it is happening. We talked about this." "You talked," I said. "The plans are set. The crew is booked. You do not have to stress. We will make this place modern. You will thank me." He said we like he owned the ground. He waved at the men. The backhoe bucket rose. The first bite tore the red petals and the soft, dark soil where my late wife used to kneel with her old straw hat tilted back. I could see her hands there in my mind. Dirt under her nails. A hum in her throat. She never hummed any tune I knew. She just let sound out like breath. That spot was hers. The machine chewed it. "Stop," I said. The operator did not hear me, or he did and did not care. "Martin," I said, "you did not ask." "I told you the plan," he said. "You keep forgetting. We have to prepare the lot for development. This is how it starts. The sooner the better." I stared at him. I felt my pulse in my gums. The words caught somewhere tight and dry. My hands were empty. That was how it felt. Empty. No papers to show. No badge to wave. No tool. Just skin and bone and old keys. Neighbors peeked. The Owen boy on his bike slowed at the end of the drive. Mrs. Patel, 2 houses down, stood on her porch with a mug and held it at her chest like it might fall. The crew kept moving. Stakes went in. String lines snapped. The bright string twanged when they plucked it. A young man with a tape measure stepped up and put the end at my fence post. He pulled the tape across the bed of lilies and the old stone rabbit Diana put there back when the kids were small. He pressed his boot on the tape to hold it. "You step off my flowers," I said. He moved his boot like it was nothing. He did not say sorry. Martin clapped a hand on my shoulder and squeezed like I was a doorknob he needed to turn. "Go inside, Dad. I will handle it." I looked down at his hand. I did not shrug it off. I just looked at it until he took it back. "Where are the permits?" I asked. "In process," he said. "In process is not in hand." He smiled now, that little smile he used when he was 10 and thought he was smarter than the teacher. "That is why you let professionals handle things." He stepped away and started talking to a man with a rolled plan under his arm. I caught a line or two. Slab. Setback. Service trench. His voice cut the air clean, like a knife through ripe fruit. I went inside. I closed the door slow so it would not shake on the frame. The house smelled like coffee gone cold. The light on the table turned a little dust golden in the beam. I put on my shoes. I put on my old denim jacket. I took the little black camera from the drawer. It fit in my palm like a heavy stone. The battery was full. I ran my thumb over the record button. I stood at the window for a long breath and then another. Then I started. I filmed the machines. I filmed their faces. I filmed the tape hitting my flowers. I filmed the bucket teeth eating the topsoil that had taken me 30 years to build with peelings and raked leaves and slow work. I filmed Martin smiling at a contractor and pointing at my fig tree. I did not shout. I did not swing. I did not stand in the trench and dare them. I clicked the camera, and I walked the edges, and I kept my mouth closed. The lens does not shake when the hand is calm. Inside, I put the camera on the table and backed up the file on the old laptop. The computer hummed. The fan rattled once and then settled. I named the file with the date, August 21. The letters looked small and neat. I called the city office. The line rang a long time. A woman picked up. Her voice sounded like she had taken off her shoes. City records. Yes, I said. I am checking on permit status for 145 Blue Ridge Road. Name: Howard Briggs. She typed. I heard the soft pad of keys. No issued permits for trenches or slabs on that parcel, she said. There is a pending application from a business name, Blue Ridge Improvement. No approval yet. Is a crew allowed to trench while it is pending? Official work needs an issued permit posted on site, she said. Sometimes people start at their own risk. Thank you, I said. Do you want to open a complaint? She asked. I looked out the window. The backhoe bucket rose again. Dirt rained off the teeth. Martin laughed with a plan man. I could see the curve of his cheek. The face I knew. The face I did not know. No, I said, not yet. I hung up and stared at the old clock on the wall. The second hand made a quiet tick like a cricket. My mouth had a dry taste. I poured a glass of water and took a careful sip. The water felt cold in my chest. I took a small voice recorder from the same drawer. I taped it under the edge of the dining table where Martin always sat when he visited. The tape smoothed under my thumb. I pressed record to test the red light. It glowed like a small eye. I pressed stop. I set it back to ready. I touched the table wood. It was smooth from years of plates and elbows. I went to the closet and pulled out the old metal lockbox that held our papers. The key hung on the hook behind the coats. The lid made a soft scrape when I opened it. Passports. Birth certificates. The deed. A folded county map with coffee stains. A receipt from a fence company from 1986. I laid them out. The deed still had my name. Howard James Briggs. It sat there in ink like a promise. I set my thumb on the ink. I felt nothing under the pad but paper, but I felt something else in my chest. A slow heat. I folded the map open. The edges were soft. There were old lines. Creek bed faded. An X near the back fence. A note in my wife's neat hand in the margin. Ask Mr. Hale about the old markers. She had written it years ago and never told me she wrote it. I traced her little note with my finger. The pencil had dug a little into the paper. You could feel the groove. I put the papers back and took the map with me. I stepped outside again. The air had a diesel tang now. The men had moved a pile of river stones that Diana had stacked around the fig. Those stones had came from a stream where we used to walk in the fall when the water was low, and you could see the round backs of stones like sleeping animals. She liked the smooth ones. She would turn them in her palm and carry them in her jacket. Now they lay in a heap like somebody had dumped out a pocket. "Martin," I called. He held up a finger without turning. 1 minute. He finished whatever he was saying and then walked over to me. "Dad, I am on a timeline." "So am I," said. "Look at this." I opened the map and held it up. The wind tried to take it. I pinned a corner with my thumb. He did not take it. He looked at it from a step back like it might stain him. "Old map," he said. "We have new surveys." "Show me your survey." "The surveyor will be here after lunch." "Good," I said. "We can all learn something." He smirked. "You are being difficult." "I am being here," I said. His jaw worked. He looked over my shoulder at the men. "Keep moving," he called. "We need that trench to the fence line by noon." They moved. I walked to the back fence. The fence is old cedar. The nails are black with age, and the slats have a gray wash from the weather. I knelt and looked for the stake that had been there since my father put it in, when the county man marked the corners. It should have been a short bit of iron. It should have sat proud of the soil, a finger tall. I dug with my hands. Cool dirt slid under my nails. Worms pulled back. I found a hollow and a root and a bottle cap. No iron. I stood and wiped my hands on my jeans. The backhoe engine revved. A driver and a dump truck backed up, and the beep, beep, beep bounced off the house walls. I tasted metal. I went inside and called Mr. Hale. He is 90 now. He used to be the county man. He has a voice like a porch swing. "Howard," he said. "Do you remember the old markers behind my fence?" I asked. "From when you set them for my father?" He was quiet, a long breath. I could hear a clock on his end. "I do not remember where I put my glasses," he said. "But I remember that. Your daddy argued with me that day about 1.5 feet on the east side. He brought out lemonade and then told me the lemon was too sharp. We settled the line at the old fig tree. I hammered in an iron pin by that root with the big curl. "The pin is gone," I said. "Pins get pulled when people think pins are just metal," he said. "But there is always something under." "Look for the old bottle," he said. Back then, some of us put a little bottle with a paper inside as a witness. We were not supposed to, but we did it. Not every time. Sometimes. "What kind of bottle?" "Medicine type," he said. "Dark glass. Small. Might be gone. Might not. I am not promising a thing. I am telling you what we did." "Thank you." "You tell Martin to slow down," he said. "I have told him." "Tell him again," he said. "Then stand back and gather your proof." I hung up. I took a breath where the house smelled like dust and cut grass and old books. I looked at the photo on the wall of Diana under that fig tree. She was younger than my son is now. She had a dirt smear on her cheek and a string of hair on her forehead, and she was laughing at the dog. I went back outside. The crew had cut a clean trench across the top bed. Dirt piled like a wall. The soil showed layers. Dark top, lighter under, clay lower down. I stood by the pile and looked like a man might look at a cut on his arm. Close, careful. A worker with a beard came to my side. He lifted his visor with a dirty finger. His eyes were soft. "You okay, sir?" "I am watching," I said. He nodded. "I do not set the jobs. I just dig." "I know," I said. "What did your order say?" He checked his clipboard and did not hide it from me. New line to rear. Trench to old fence line. Remove existing garden. Prepare pad area. Note said per owner on site. The owner line had a name. Blue Ridge Improvement. That was my son's company. "Thank you," I said. He frowned. "You are the owner, right?" I looked at my house. At the window where I could see the edge of my lamp. At the step where Martin fell once as a boy and split his lip and bled, and I held him and he cried into my shirt. "Yes," I said, "I am the owner." He read my face. His mouth tightened. He went back to his machine. I took pictures of the clipboard. I took a picture of the trucks. I took a picture of the empty steak place by the fence. I took a picture of my hand next to the place it should have been to show scale. My nails were dark. The lines in my skin looked like dry creek beds. At noon, a white pickup rolled up. A young surveyor hopped out with a tripod and a pole and a little box that beeped at the sky. He had hair that stuck up and a sunburn peeling at the nose. He looked like a boy playing with grown man tools. "Afternoon," he said. "Afternoon," I said. He set his tripod, he tapped his screen, he moved the pole to the back fence. He squinted, he frowned, he set the pole again, he checked the screen, he chewed his lip. Martin drifted over. "We good," he said. "Maybe," the young man said. "Maybe is not helpful," Martin said. "There is a record line here that does not match the coordinates I have on your file," the surveyor said. He pointed to the pole. "See the fence, see the tree. There is a note in the oldest plat that mentions a fig root. That is strange and old school, but it is written in the margin. Whoever wrote it had neat handwriting." "My wife." I kept my face still. "What does that mean?" Martin asked. "It means the corner may sit 8 inches west of where your file places it," the surveyor said. "I would want to check county records before we set anything in concrete." Martin laughed like the man told him a knock-knock joke. "We're not pouring today," he said. "We're just clearing. Keep going." The surveyor looked at me. Our eyes met for a second. Then he looked back at his screen. "I will flag the possible line," he said. He snapped orange flags to the string. They fluttered. The wind flicked them. One caught on the rough bark of the fig. The fig leaves shivered in the breeze. The fruit was still green and hard. After he flagged, I walked him to the side. "What do you see?" "I see a mess," he said in a low voice. "Old notes, new files. Somebody pulled a pin. That is never a good sign. Also, your son should have a posted permit for trench work. I do not see one." "I called the city," I said. He nodded. "You should call them again. Talk to a supervisor. I did not tell you that." He lifted his pole and headed for his truck. Motivation thrummed under my ribs, not anger. Something quieter and colder. The kind of feeling you get when you hold a level and the bubble centers, and for a second you feel the world sit right. I went inside and turned on the voice recorder. I set 2 glasses on the table. I made tea in the kettle. The steam curled and wet the window. The whistle sounded thin and high. I poured and set the cups down. The recorder's red light stayed dark. I was ready. When Martin came to the door, I called, "Tea." He stepped in and wiped his boots on the mat like he had manners. He sat where he always sat, right over the recorder. He wrapped his hands around the cup, but did not drink. "Dad," he said, "you are making this hard. This is for the best. We are going to raise the value of the lot. You will get a new place. No more old stairs. No more yard work. You can have a condo. You will thank me." "Who is we?" I asked. He sighed. "Me, Julie, the boys, the company, everyone." "You do not get to be everyone." He smiled again. "You say that like it matters." "Where are your papers?" I asked. "Your permit, your survey, your deed." He looked down at his cup. The steam made his lashes bead. "You will see them when you need to," he said. "Right now you need to let us finish." He stood. He did not drink. He walked back out. The recorder sat there with its dark eye. I had the words, calm, clear, all of them. After he left, I went to the shed. The shed smells like oil and dry wood chip and old rope. The light comes in through a crack at the roof and turns the dust into slow gold. I set the map on the workbench. I ran my finger along the back fence line again. "Ask Mr. Hale about the old markers." I picked up an old garden fork. The handle was worn smooth. My hand found the same place it had found for years. I walked to the back fence and stabbed the fork into the ground near the fig. I worked it loose. The soil broke. I tried again a foot west. The fork hit something that rang. A small, high note. Not stone, not root. Something that answered metal. I dug with my hands. The first layer came away easy. The second stuck. I worked like a slow badger. The edge of a small brown bottle appeared. The glass was dark and had bubbles in it like tiny frozen rain. The cork had long ago turned to mush. There was paper inside, rolled tight, pressed by time. My throat made a sound I did not plan. I held the bottle in my palm. It was cool. It seemed heavier than it should be. I wiped it with my sleeve. I did not open it, not yet. I set it in an old coffee can and poured sand over it to keep it from rolling. I took a picture. I took another with my hand in the frame. My fingers looked big and clumsy around that small bottle. I went to the library that afternoon. The library is cool, even on a hot day. The old man at the desk nodded. He knows me. I asked for plat books. He pointed to a shelf. I pulled the thick volumes down and set them on a table where the light fell clear. I turned pages slow. I traced lines. I found Blue Ridge Road in a book that smelled like damp cotton. There was a note in the margin on a page from 1958. Fig tree witness. I took a photo with my phone. The quiet of the place sat on me like a blanket. It did not make me warm, it steadied my hands. On the way home, I stopped by Mr. Hale's house. He sat on his porch with a blanket over his knees, though the day was not cold. He had a hat on. He looked at my hands and then at my face. "You found something," he said. "I did," I said. "A bottle." He smiled with half his mouth. "We were fools for those little bottles." "Will it matter?" "Maybe," he said. "Maybe not. The bottle is a story. The paper inside is a record. Records matter when people act like memory is only what they want." "I will bring it by when I open it," I said. He nodded. "Do it right. Do it slow. Get a witness. 2 if you can. And take pictures before you breathe on the paper." Back home, the crew had cut deeper. The trench ran like a dry river now. The soil made waves along the edges where the shovel teeth had scraped. The backhoe moved toward the fig. The operator eased the bucket. Dirt slid in a smooth sheet down the pile. The orange flags trembled. I set the coffee can with the bottle on the bench in the shed. I did not open it. I set a note beside it for myself. "Do not touch until calm. Get a witness. Take pictures." I took my phone and filmed from the back step. The backhoe crawled. The tracks pressed the ground and left a pattern like the skin of a giant lizard. The operator lifted the arm and swung it. The bucket lined up with the roots. He paused and scratched his cheek with one finger, like a man who is not sure if he should take the bite. "Hold up," I called. He did not hear me over the engine. I walked closer. I could feel the heat from the machine on my legs. The diesel smell thickened. My eyes watered. "Hold," I said louder. The bearded worker saw me and waved to the operator. The bucket held. I stepped to the fig and put my hand on the trunk. The bark felt like an old knuckle. I looked up into the leaves where the light made soft green circles. Then I stepped back. "Go slow," I said. "If you hit anything, stop." The operator nodded. He eased the bucket down. The teeth slid under the top roots. The machine groaned. The tree shivered. The soil broke in a chunk. The bucket lifted and swung and dumped. The dirt thumped. The second pass went deeper. Something clanged under the teeth. The sound was sharp. Metal on metal. The operator flinched. He looked at the bearded man. The bearded man looked at me. "What was that?" he said. "Keep it there," I said. "Do not move." They held. I climbed down into the edge of the trench. The wall was high at my shoulder. The soil smelled like rain, even though the sky was clear. I crouched and brushed at the packed earth where the bucket had scraped. Something flat and dark sat there like the back of a sleeping fish. I brushed more. The shape grew. Edges. A corner. It was not a rock. It was a lid. Metal. With a small ring. The ring had rust, but it was still a ring. I looked up. The men stared. My son walked over fast. His face had gone a shade paler. "What is it?" he asked. "Something you did not put here," I said. He opened his mouth. He closed it. He glanced at the bearded man. "Keep working," he said. The bearded man did not move. The operator did not move. The machine idled and shook. "Let me get gloves," I said. I climbed out slow. My knees popped. I walked to the shed. My hands shook a little when I pulled on the gloves. The leather smelled like clean dust and oil. I took the small brush I used for cleaning mower parts. I took the camera. Back at the trench, I set my feet wide on the edge and leaned in and brushed the metal lid. The ring lifted a little and then stuck. I took a flat screwdriver and eased it under. The lid did not jump. It sighed. A small breath of old air came up that smelled like iron and paper and time. Martin stood over me. "This is a distraction," he said. "We stick to schedule." "Schedule can wait," I said. "You always do this," he said. His voice was tight. "You stall. You make drama." I did not answer. I slid the brush around the edges. Dirt came away in threads. The box under looked like a biscuit tin, but heavier. The paint was long gone. The metal had freckles of rust. It had no maker mark. One could see. The ring wiggled. I did not pull it. "Hands off," Martin snapped. I looked up at him. "Say that again." He swallowed. He took a breath like he wanted to shout, but had been told not to shout in front of men he paid. He lowered his voice. "Do not play this game with me." "This is not a game." Mrs. Patel had left her porch. She stood now at the back gate, one hand on the latch. The Owen boy had dropped his bike and was peering between the pickets. The bearded worker leaned on his shovel. The operator had turned off his engine. The quiet felt loud. Even the cicadas seemed to be waiting. I took 3 pictures. Close, closer, closest. I tucked the camera in my jacket pocket. I got on my knees at the edge and eased my hands under the lip of the box. I felt the cold of the metal through the gloves. I wiggled. It shifted a little. The soil held it like a hand that did not want to let go. I worked the edges with the screwdriver again. I could feel my breath move slow and steady. In, out. "Do not strain yourself," Martin said, but it did not sound like care. It sounded like a wish. I did not look at him. I set my feet and lifted. The box rose a hand with, then stuck, and then came free all at once with a soft suck. Dirt slid off. I set it on the ground of the trench wall like a man sets a baby down. Gentle. Careful. The ring shook a little in my fingers. "Get it up," the bearded man said. His voice was a low rasp. "Do not open it down there. If there is paper, it will suck in the damp." He was right. He knew something about old things. "Rope," I said. He tossed me a coil. I looped it under the box. The rope scratched metal. I tied the simple knot my father taught me. Nothing fancy. No sailor stuff. Just 3 pulls and a tuck. The kind that does not show off, but holds. "On 3, I said. 1, 2, 3. We lifted. The box came up and over the edge and sat on the grass in a square of sunlight. Dirt gritted under it. The sunlight made the rust wake up and show color. Orange. Brown. A thin stripe of black where moisture had once sat. The ring glinted a dull silver under the rust. Martin stepped close. "This changes nothing," he said. "It is junk." "Maybe," I said. He reached like he was going to grab the ring. "Do not," I said. I did not raise my voice. I just said it like a wall. He stopped. I took my phone and hit record. The screen showed the box and our hands in the edge of the trench. The bearded man held the rope coil. The operator stood with his arms crossed. Mrs. Patel put her hand to her mouth. The Owen boy had his eyes wide. Martin was a stone. I slid my thumbs under the ring and lifted the lid a hair. A smell rose up. Old paper, damp metal, a hint of something sweet like dried fig. The lid stuck at one corner. I eased it. The hinge creaked soft. I lifted it a little more. Inside I could see the edge of a wrapped bundle and the corner of a small book. The top of the book had a pattern pressed into the cover. Not fancy, just a border. The bundle looked like cloth. There was twine. The twine had gone gray. There was also the curve of something that glowed dull and yellow where the light hit it. It was not a coin shape exactly. Not round. More like a small plate. The edge had marks. Martin sucked a breath between his teeth. I did not move. I did not touch the bundle or the book or the yellow thing. I let the air sit. I let the camera see. The bearded man whispered, "What is that?" I looked up at him. At Martin. At the men. At the watching eyes at the fence. My heart knocked once, hard, and then settled back into its steady, slow beat. "Everyone step back," I said. "Do not touch a thing." The wind pushed the fig leaves and threw shifting shadows over the open box. Down in the trench a small clod of dirt let go and fell and hit with a soft thud. Far off a dog barked, and then stopped. The moment held like a held breath. And then the backhoe bucket, still near the edge, settled a fraction from its own weight, and the chain on it gave a little clink against steel. The sound was small. It cut the air like a pin. We all looked at the box again. I reached to lift the lid the rest of the way. The hinge gave one last soft creak, and the inside of the box opened to full view. I saw lines on the yellow plate I could not read yet, and the first letter on the cloth tag, and the tip of what looked like a seal pressed into wax. I set my fingers at the edge. I drew a breath, and then I froze, because from under the cloth something else caught the sun with a quick, clean flash. Not rust. Not brass. Not anything I expected. I looked closer. It was a shape I had not seen since I was a boy. I did not say what it was. I closed the lid an inch and looked up at my son. "Call the city," I said. "Now." He stared at me. "Call them," I said again, and for the first time that day my voice had a sharp edge. He took out his phone with slow fingers. In the grass, the box sat quiet and heavy. In the trench, the wall held its cut. Over us, the fig leaves whispered. I put my hand flat on the lid and waited for the sound of the line ringing on his phone. I did not move. I did not blink. The box did not move either. It just sat and kept its old secrets for one breath more. Martin's phone was in his hand, but he wasn't moving his thumb. He just stared at the dark screen like it might blink with the answer he wanted. The men shifted on their boots. The backhoe clicked as it cooled. The box on the grass sat heavy and patient. "Call," I said again. He pressed the screen and lifted the phone to his ear. I listened. The line rang. Once. Twice. 3 times. His jaw worked. He turned his back on me when the woman's voice came through, too faint for the others to hear. "Yes," he said. "This is Martin Briggs. Blue Ridge Improvement. We have a site situation." "Yes. At 145 Blue Ridge Road. My father's place." He paused. "What do you mean, no permit has been issued?" His neck flushed red, climbing up the side like a rash. I stepped closer. I wanted every word on record. I touched my pocket where the recorder sat warm against my side. "No," Martin said, louder now. "I filed weeks ago. It should be approved. We've already broken ground." "The trench is dug." His voice shook. "What does pending mean?" I could hear the woman now, tinny through the air. "Pending means review. Until you have a posted permit, any work is unauthorized. If you've disturbed ground without clearance, stop immediately. Do not proceed." Martin's face tightened. He turned, met my eyes, and for the first time that day he looked smaller than me. He ended the call with a hard jab. "Happy," he snapped. I pointed at the box. "That doesn't belong to you. It doesn't belong to your company. It belongs to the record, and the record will decide." He gave a sharp laugh, but it didn't ring. It fell flat in the quiet yard. "You think some old tin in the dirt changes anything? We can handle this." "You can't handle what's already written," I said. The bearded worker spoke up, slow and steady. "Sir, with respect, you're off the rails. If there's historical material, that box could freeze the site. Could lock it down. You don't mess with that." Martin spun on him. "You work for me." The worker shook his head. "I work for the law, and for my license. I'm not losing it over your shortcut." The crew began to drift back, shovels still in hand, but their weight was no longer on Martin's side. Eyes turned to me, to the box, to the fig tree. I knelt again and brushed a thumb along the rusty lid. The hinge groaned, the sound sharp in the air. I opened it just a finger's width, enough for the smell of paper and earth to breathe out again. The bearded man stepped closer, bent, and caught the edge of cloth. He didn't touch, just looked. "What do you see?" I asked him. He swallowed. "That's no junk. That's preservation. You call the county. You let them send someone out. That's how it goes." Martin's voice cracked as he tried to push past. "Don't touch it. It's mine. This is my site. I paid the men. I filed the papers." I held up the recorder. Its red light glowed steady. "And now you've said it yourself." His eyes widened, the color draining from his cheeks. He took half a step back, caught between fight and flight. "From the fence," Mrs. Patel called, her voice thin but carrying. "Howard, you need witnesses. We're here. We saw it." I nodded. My throat felt tight, but my voice came clear. "You'll all remember this day." The city truck came faster than I expected, yellow lights flashing. Two men stepped out with clipboards and hard hats. Their boots sank into the grass as they approached. One, squatted by the box, lifted his glasses and peered close. "Don't move it further," he said. "This is sealed until we register it. Could be historic, could be older. Either way, it halts work." Martin lunged forward. "You can't just stop my crew. This is private property." The inspector looked at me. "Sir, deed holder name." I reached into my jacket and pulled out the folded paper, my name in ink. I handed it over. He read, nodded, and passed it to his partner. "It halts," he said flat. "Effective now. Workmen, down tools. No further disturbance." The backhoe driver shut off the engine fully. The silence felt like a wall slamming shut. Martin turned to me, fury shaking his shoulders. "You don't know what you've done." I met his eyes, steady as stone. "I've reminded you whose ground you're standing on." The inspector tagged the trench with red tape, the ends snapping in the breeze. The box stayed under their watch. Martin's voice rose, desperate, angry, cracking like glass under strain. He spat words I had not heard since he was a boy throwing tantrums over chores. But no one listened. Not the crew, not the neighbors, not the men with the clipboards. I stood in the doorway of my house, hands folded behind my back, watching him unravel in the very dirt he thought he owned. And in that moment, for the first time in years, I felt the ground solid beneath my feet. Martin paced the yard like a caged dog, his steps cutting lines into the grass. The inspectors ignored him. One crouched low, brushing dirt gently from the lid of the box, snapping photos with a small camera that flashed sharp white in the fading light. The other unrolled caution tape and marked a square around the trench, staking the corners into my garden as if it were now a crime scene. The neighbors didn't leave. They leaned on fences and porches, eyes fixed. Even the Owen boys' bike lay forgotten, tipped on its side with one wheel slowly spinning. The hum of gossip traveled low between them. They had seen Martin smirk that morning. Now they watched his jaw shake as his plan came apart in plain view. I didn't move from the porch. The wood under my heels was worn smooth, grooves from years of pacing with a cup in my hand. Diana had once stood beside me on this very spot, waving at neighbors, her laugh spilling into the yard. I pressed my palm flat against the railing, as if to feel her steadiness again. Martin stormed back toward the inspectors. "You don't understand," he barked. "This is my project. We've invested money. The buyers are waiting." The older inspector straightened slowly, brushing dirt from his hands. His eyes were calm, steady. "Mr. Briggs, there is no permit posted. There is no legal authority for your work here. And now, with this discovery, nothing moves until historical review is complete." Martin laughed, harsh and broken. "Historical review? It's just junk buried in the dirt." The inspector's partner lifted the lid a fraction, just enough to peek inside. He didn't touch the contents. His whistle was low and long. "This isn't junk," he said. "This looks like archival material, maybe more. Could be county records, maybe settlement artifacts. You're done here." Martin's face drained. For the first time, real fear edged his voice. "You can't do this to me. I've put everything into this." The inspector held up a hand. "We didn't do this to you. You did it yourself." I shifted my weight, the boards creaking under me. My voice carried steady. "Martin, you tried to erase me from my own land. You thought I wouldn't fight, but the ground remembers more than you do." His head snapped toward me. His mouth opened like he might spit back something cruel, but nothing came. He looked at the men in vests, at the box, at the staring eyes around the fence line. He saw the truth pressing in on him from all sides. The bearded worker muttered, not hiding his words this time. "Should have asked your father before you dug." The crew shifted away from Martin, gathering tools without a word. Shovels clinked. The backhoe operator swung down from the cab, wiping his hands on his jeans. No one looked at Martin. No one followed his orders. Mrs. Patel called out softly from the fence. "Howard, you need to write this down. Every detail. Tonight." "I will," I said. The inspectors packed their notes. One sealed the box in a heavy plastic wrap and tagged it with a yellow slip. They carried it to their truck, steady as pallbearers. Martin lunged a step, but the older inspector's look stopped him cold. "This is evidence now," he said. "Tampering is a felony." Martin froze. The word hung heavy in the air. Felony. Even the neighbors stiffened at the sound. He backed away, shaking his head, his voice dropping to a whisper I could still hear. "You ruined me, Dad." I didn't answer. Not yet. The inspectors drove off with the box, their truck rolling slow, lights flashing once before disappearing around the bend. The sound of the engine faded, leaving only the cicadas buzzing in the dusk. The yard was still, the trench cut across it like a scar. The fig tree swayed above it, leaves whispering secrets to the wind. The neighbors drifted back into their homes one by one, but I could feel their eyes through curtains, the story already spreading like roots under soil. Martin stood alone in the torn garden, shoulders hunched, the shine of sweat on his forehead catching the last of the light. He looked smaller than he had ever looked to me. I turned for the door. My hand rested on the knob. My voice carried back to him, quiet but sharp enough to cut. "You dug your own hole today, and the ground gave you back more than you wanted." I stepped inside and closed the door. The latch clicked. The house breathed around me, old and solid. Behind me, outside, Martin's voice cracked once in the dark, a sound of anger twisted with something else, something closer to fear. And I let it hang there. The night settled heavy over the house. I sat at the kitchen table with the recorder, replaying Martin's voice over and over. "This is my project. We've invested money. The buyers are waiting." His tone grew smaller each time I heard it, stripped of confidence once the inspector shut him down. I copied the file to a thumb drive and slipped it into my pocket. Evidence, neat and cold. I could not sleep. Every creak of the house felt louder. The smell of disturbed soil drifted through the open window, earthy and raw. I walked from room to room, touching frames, shelves, the arm of Diana's old chair. The land had always been more than dirt. It was memory made solid, and he had tried to carve it up like scrap wood. By morning, news had spread. When I stepped onto the porch, the Owen boy's mother waved from across the street. She didn't smile. She looked at me with the kind of respect you only give someone who stood his ground. At the corner, two men I barely knew whispered while pointing at my fence. The story had already grown legs. Martin pulled into the drive just after 8. His car door slammed. He came in fast, shoulders high, eyes bloodshot from a night without sleep. "Dad," he started, "we need to talk." I stayed on the porch. "About what you did?" "About fixing this." He leaned forward, voice low, urgent. "You don't understand. I had buyers lined up, contracts drafted. If this project collapses, I'm finished. Completely. The bank—" He cut himself off. His eyes darted. "I can't let this ruin me." "You tried to ruin me first." My voice didn't rise. It didn't need to. He rubbed his temples, pacing like the world pressed in on him. "You don't see it. That land is wasted on gardens and fig trees. It could be worth millions. We could both live better than this, but you're clinging to dirt and memories." I stepped down one stair. My boots hit the gravel with a crunch. "This isn't just dirt. It's roots. And you forgot your own." His laugh was bitter. "Spare me the farmer poetry. We can still spin this. Tell him the box was nothing. Say you overreacted. Sign over the deed to me, and I'll make sure you're comfortable." I stared at him. The morning light cut across his face, showing lines I hadn't noticed before, creases from worry and greed. He looked older than 44, older and hollow. "You want me comfortable," I said slowly, "like you wanted me comfortable in a condo while you bulldozed Diana's garden." He flinched, just once, like I'd struck him. "Dad, please, don't do this. I'm not the one who dug the hole." Before he could answer, a county truck rolled up. Different men this time. 2 from Historical Review. One carried a sealed evidence bag with the box inside. They set it on the hood of their truck and clipped fresh tags. Martin's face went pale again. "We've had a preliminary look," one of them said. "There are papers inside dating back to the 1800s. Land grants, survey notes, a ledger of ownership transfers. It ties this property to original settlement claims. That makes this land historically protected." The words hit like thunder. The ground itself seemed to hold still. Martin staggered a step. "No, no, that can't." The man continued, firm. "Any development is suspended indefinitely. This property cannot be subdivided or built over without state approval, which, given what we've seen, will never happen." Martin's voice cracked. "You're destroying me." The man looked at him, puzzled. "You did that yourself." I took a slow breath, letting the silence soak. "Martin," I said, "you tried to bury me alive in paperwork and machines, but the ground had its own record. Older than your schemes, stronger than your lies." He stood there, broken open in front of neighbors who had gathered again, drawn by the trucks and the voices. Every eye on him, no allies, no crew, no power, just shame. I turned my back on him and faced the inspectors. "Thank you for doing what's right." They nodded, loading the box into their truck. When they drove away, the dust hung in the air, golden in the morning sun. Martin's car engine roared a moment later, then faded down the road. He didn't look back. I stood in the yard, breathing deep. The garden was torn, scarred, but it was still mine. The fig tree swayed above the trench, leaves whispering in the wind. The ground had spoken, and for once, the world had listened. 3 days later, the county called me to the records office. The room was cool and smelled like old paper. The box sat on a table under a bright lamp. The inspectors wore gloves. They didn't let me touch, but they let me look. Inside was the small book, the wrapped cloth, and that yellow piece that had flashed in the sun. It was a seal plate, brass. The town crest stamped deep and clean. Under it, a line of words I could read even from a step away. East Orchard and Public Way Reserved. The cloth held a folded paper. The ink had gone brown, but the strokes were careful and neat. A name I knew, my grandfather's father, a witness name I knew even better. Hale. The older inspector tapped the margin with his pen. 1901, he said. They set aside this ground. The fig tree is listed as a witness. Your family line holds custody, not ownership, for that strip. The rest of the parcel is tied to the original grant. With the ledger and the bottle you found, it's enough to protect it outright. He slid a photo across the table toward me. The words were clear in the print. The seal caught the light even in the picture. "Will this stop all building?" I asked. "It freezes everything," he said. "No slab, no split, no access driveway across that east strip. And any plan that would impact the Orchard witness line dies here. This isn't just your garden. It's designated. It's in the record." I stood very still. The breath that left me felt like it had been held for years. On the way home, I stopped at Mr. Hale's porch. He sat with a blanket even though the sun was warm. I showed him the photo of his old signature. His fingers trembled when he touched the edge of the print. "I told your daddy to plant that fig tight," he said with a laugh that turned wet. "Said it would keep honest men honest." "It did," I said. He patted my arm with a dry palm. "Now keep your back straight with that boy." I did not have to wait long. That afternoon, a white envelope came to my box. County letterhead. Stop work order. Civil fines listed line by line. And notice that any further disturbance would be referred to the state. A separate sheet said the East Strip was now on the register as the Briggs Orchard Way. Protected. Forever. Martin called at dusk. His voice was hoarse. "You think you won. You just made the land worthless." "The land is fine," I said. "It was your plan that was worthless. You did this to me." "No. The men with the seals did, and the men who wrote the words before you and me." He hung up so hard the click stung my ear. The next morning a new letter came. Not for me. It was for the lot next door. a small rectangle Martin had scooped up last year to use as an access path for his trucks. The bank had called his note. Auction in 2 weeks. Public sale. Cash. I folded the letter, slid it in my jacket, and took a slow walk under the fig. The leaves brushed my shoulder. A green fig bumped my ear, hard as a stone still. It would be sweet in a month. I planned to be here for it. For the next 14 days, I did not argue. I did not call. I did not answer his late-night messages that swung from anger to begging and back. I rebuilt my back step with a scrap of cedar. I straightened the stones Diana had carried home from the creek. I watered the torn beds and pressed a few stems of mint into damp soil, even knowing they might not take. I kept my hands busy. The mind stays clean when the hands are steady. Mrs. Patel came over with a Tupperware of rice. She set it on my counter without asking and stood with her hands folded. "You are going to the auction," she said. It wasn't a question. "I am," I said. "Good," she said. "I made you a list of who will come with you." She held up a small card with names, 10 of them, neighbors. The Owen boy's mother, the bearded worker, the young surveyor, even the librarian, who had pointed me to the plat books and always watched my hands near the pages like I might hurt the past on accident. "We're not here to shout," she said. "We're here to stand." I felt my throat pull tight for a second. I nodded. On the morning of the auction, I put on my good shirt, the blue one. The lot was small, a strip of chalky grass and a bent sign. A crowd had gathered, but most were lookers. The bank man read from a stack of papers. His tie was too tight. Martin stood near the front, jaw clenched, sweat on his lip, even though the breeze was cool. His eyes flicked over the crowd and stuck on me. A flare of hate, a flash of fear. He lifted his hand like he could cut the air between us. The bankman called for an opening bid. A developer in a clean vest lifted his finger and named a number. Another man followed, just to test the water. It rose, then slowed. The bearded worker called a number for show and then shook his head, grinning, and backed out. People looked at him like he was trouble. He winked at me and melted into the back. When the room went quiet and the bankman started to clear his throat for the going once, I raised my hand. I did not say much, just a number, clean, final. There was a rustle. The bankman looked at me and then at the check in my envelope and then back at me. He banged his little hammer with a tired arm. Sold. Martin took a step like he might come at me. He didn't. He turned in a tight circle and then stood still, face gone white. I walked up and signed where the man pointed. The pen scraped. The paper felt thick. When I left, the neighbors followed me out like a quiet line. No cheering, no handshakes, just a steady walk back to the street. I did not go straight home. I went to the printer shop. I ordered a plaque, metal, simple letters, nothing fancy. I paid extra for same day. I went to the hardware store and bought 2 posts and a sack of dry concrete. When I got home, I set the posts where the little strip met my fence. I poured water from the hose into the mix and stirred with an old stick. The smell went sharp and wet. I set the plaque between the posts and pressed it level until the bubbles sat perfect in the glass. I stepped back. The words were plain. Diana Briggs Garden and Archive. Community Way. Protected ground. Be kind. I stood and watched the letters until the concrete grabbed and held. Martin's car tire hissed the gravel not an hour later. He did not turn the engine off. He sat behind the wheel with his hands on it for a long time. When he finally stepped out, his face was gray. His mouth was set. He walked to the sign. He read it 3 times. His jaw clicked. "You think a sign stops me," he said. "No," I said. "The sign is for people. The record is for the ground. The deed is for the strip. And the law is for the rest." He laughed once. A bark. "You always wanted to teach me a lesson." "I wanted you to learn one before the ground did it for you," I said. He took a step toward me. I did not move. "You bought that lot to spite me," he said. "I bought it to keep you from hurting yourself more," I said, "and to keep trucks off the fig roots. And because you needed to learn that a good thing is not made by a bulldozer." He spat in the dirt by my boot. "You're cruel." The Owen boy's mother walked up to the fence. She didn't say a word. She put her hand on the top board and stood like a post herself. The bearded worker leaned on the other side. The surveyor stood by the corner with his pole like a flag he'd planted. Mrs. Patel stepped to my left, quiet and close enough that I could feel the heat of her arm. A couple from down the block came too, holding paper cups like they'd just left church. They didn't speak. They stood. Martin looked from face to face and then back at me. "You don't have to like me," I said, "but you will respect this place." He started to talk. I lifted my hand. "And one more thing," I said. I took the thumb drive from my pocket. I held it up. The sun made a hard little glint on the plastic. "Your voice. On record. Your words. Your claim. You bullied men to dig without papers. You planned to move me out without asking. The inspectors have copies. The bank has a copy. I kept one." I slid the drive back into my pocket like I was putting away a coin. He blinked. Twice. The weight of it hit him all at once. His shoulders sagged. He looked down at the torn bed where Diana's lilies had been. A shovel lay half buried in the crumble, the handle worn smooth where a hand had held it honest for years. "I didn't mean it to go like this," he said. "It was quiet. It was late. It did not matter." I turned and walked to the posts. I pressed my palm flat against the plaque. The metal was warm. "I mailed a letter this morning," I said without turning. "To the city, to the historical board, to the library. The sign is not just a sign. The garden is not just plants. There will be an archive here, a bench, a box under glass with the photo of the seal, and a copy of the old words. Kids will come from the school with little notebooks and draw the fig tree. The path will be open. The east strip is not mine, and it is not yours. It is for anyone who needs a quiet place to stand." I faced him then. "And the other strip," I said, nodding toward the new posts. "It is mine now. It will stay quiet. If you want to walk it, you can. If you want to look at the letters on the sign, that is fine. But no trucks will roll down it. Not while I am breathing. Not after." His lips moved. No sound came. He wiped his face with his palm and left a smear of dirt there without knowing it. He turned, walked to his car, and drove away without looking back. That night, the neighbors came with shovels and small plants. They worked without talking much. We set new lilies where the old ones had been torn. We ringed the fig with a fresh circle of stones from the creek. The Owen boy carried them 2 at a time and grinned like he'd lifted a mountain. Mrs. Patel brought cuttings in damp paper towels. The surveyor brought a wooden bench he'd made with his own hands. It rocked a little on the left leg until he shaved it with a pocket knife and made it sit true. When we finished, the yard smelled like wet earth and mint and sweat and something sweet from the fig that wasn't ripe yet but promised. I printed the photo of the seal and put it in a simple frame. I set it on the table under my porch light. I sat with a cup of tea and the recorder in my pocket and the thumb drive in the drawer, and I listened to the bugs sing. The next morning, a tow truck came for the backhoe. The crew picked up the last of the string and stakes. They waved at me like you wave at a man whose house you once stepped into without knocking and now wish you had. The yard looked rough, but right. It would heal. A week later, the inspector called. "Fines are assessed," he said. "Your son's file is closed. The board approved your plan for the garden and archive. Bring the photo. We'll mount it properly. We'll make sure the story is told." "Thank you," I said. I hung a small bell from the fig, brass, like the seal. When the wind moved through, it made a sound that was clear and small and clean. On a Sunday, I wrote one more letter. This one I slid under a door. No return address. No sharp words. Just a copy of the deed to the strip and a photo of the seal and a line written simple. "When you are ready to be a son again, come and sit under the tree." He did not come that week. He might not come this year. That is not my part to write. I sweep the porch each morning. I nod to the neighbors. Kids come to look at the sign and trace the letters with a finger. The bench holds the weight of new stories now. That is enough. The ground is quiet again. The house is quiet again. I close the door at night without extra sound. The fig leaves whisper like they did before the engines, and the garden keeps its own time. If you like this story, please like this video, subscribe and join Taste of Revenge family, and share your impressions of the story in the comments. To listen to the next story, click on one of the boxes on the right. Thank you for watching to the end.